So let's start with what happened last week. So last week there was a complaint launched against your campaign by the campaign chair of your opponent, Christian Romo, who of course happens to be the chair of the Kern County Democratic Party. And now the allegations, and I've heard two different things, one from Christian Romo and one from Leticia Perez, where Christian Romo was saying that you had this situation where you were on state time at a community event and putting up campaign signs. Then I spoke a couple days later with Leticia Perez, your opponent in this race. She says that you were at this event as well, and that she says that the church was supporting you and all sorts of stuff like that. So can you clear up, can you tell us from your story what happened?
Okay, so there was a community meeting Tuesday night. I've been to those meetings in the past because they're with the MLK Prosperity Neighborhood Partnership, or initiative. So they have meetings within their sphere of influence for this grant that they're supposed to be getting. I attended that evening. Supervisor Perez was there. Christian Romo was not there. So he had no knowledge of what was going on in the meeting. So whatever information he got was told to him. I did a breakout session, I should say, because the facilitator had asked the whole audience, is there anyone that wants to lead one of these sessions? I looked around, no one raised their hand, so I raised my hand and went to facilitate one of the breakout sessions with regards to infrastructure. That was the only role I played. I was never announced as working as the district director for Assemblywoman Dr. Baines. I have been on a leave of absence since September 16th that runs through November 15th. So under no circumstances was I there on state time. And a matter of fact, one of Dr. Baines' field rep was in the audience and had an opportunity to speak afterwards to give an update on behalf of the member.
So you weren't putting up campaign signs on state time?
And I wasn't on state time. I just make it clear. You know, I was off the state payroll from September 16th to November 15th. So there's no state time involved at all. I was not putting up any campaign signs. I did not have any literature. I was there to listen, be a part of that meeting, which I've done in the past. I was asked, how did I learn about the meeting? And I'm on their email list. It's on Facebook. It's not anything that I was invited to. Anybody could have gone. It was open to the public.
So for those of us that are unfamiliar with the way that California pays its employees, you're not getting paid in this leave of absence at all?
No, I'm not getting paid. No, and the district attorney, the investigator, had asked me that question. They had called me in on Thursday. I voluntarily went in to be transparent about where I stood. September 15th, I sent an email to our HR person, CC'd the member and CC'd our chief of staff, just reminding them, even though we all knew, that I would be gone from September 16th to November 15th. I even told the investigator that if anybody emailed my assembly account, that's the state email, they would get a bounce back saying that I am on leave from those dates. So I don't know what more I could have done besides put out a press release maybe on the 16th to let everybody know that I am not going to be on state time and I'm actually going to be on a leave to devote full time to my campaign.
What did these events last week, and obviously the event was one thing, but then of course the allegations that came after it, what did that mean for this race? What did that mean for the race that you're running, or has nothing changed at all?
Well, so when I heard about that complaint, no one told me what it was about. And so I can't give a comment on something I don't know what I'm being accused of. So on Thursday is when an investigator reached out to me, like I said, asked me to come in, and I did, asked me a question if I had used state resources and time to campaign, for campaign purposes, and I said absolutely not. And so that's when they realized that they called Sacramento to confirm and verify that I was in fact on leave. So that was it. It was a very short meeting with the investigator. He did assure me when we started the meeting that I was not under investigation. He goes, I want to make it clear you're not under investigation. He goes, and we're trying to see if these complaints are unfounded. And as we know, on Friday, the district attorney put out their statement saying that they were baseless and unfounded. And personally, quite frankly, I would like an apology from Christian Romo and Supervisor Perez for putting these out there. It was detrimental to my campaign those 3 days. I could not let another news cycle go on with these allegations sitting out there.
And what does this do to change the race?
That's up to the voters. They're going to decide. When we were walking this weekend, I had one gentleman ask me if what they were saying about my opponent was true. I said, I do know she's under investigation. That's the last I heard. I said, but I have been cleared. So people are paying attention. They're watching. I'm hoping that they're paying attention a little more and finding that my name has been cleared.
And on that topic too, because we've seen the supervisor in several elections over the past years. She hasn't been able to get to that statewide office, but she's consistently won her supervisor district, even with a criminal past as well, with pleading no contest to misdemeanor charges. What is the thing that makes you different from any other opponent that she's had in the supervisor race?
What makes me different is she's in a general election. She's historically won in the primary, her supervisor's race, and now we're in the general. In looking at these general numbers, she won 40% out of the primary. If I can grab the other two candidates who are in the race, that puts me at 60-40. So I'm not saying that that's what it's going to be, but we've been working hard. We've been hitting the ground, knocking on doors, talking to voters. I'm encouraged by what they're telling me, but we'll find out, next Tuesday. It's their decision. If they feel like things are the status quo and they're comfortable with that, then by all means vote for my opponent. If they're happy with the infrastructure, with roads, crime, the way things have been going for the last 12 years, by all means vote for my opponent. But if they want change, they should vote for me. I've been in the 5th district. I worked for Supervisor Rubio. I know how that office works, and I know the impact that they can have within District 5.
Yeah, and can you talk about the work that you do? Because I know a lot of people hear state employee for the Assemblywoman. What work do you currently do?
When I'm back on state time, I'm the district director for Assemblywoman Dr. Baines. I manage her office. The district runs from Delano to Arvin, whatever that entails, whether it's representing the member at an event, whether it's taking calls, involved in legislation, what the community is saying. The member comes down into the district, is out and about as well. So working together with her collaboratively with Sacramento staff and our chief of staff. So that's what I do.
You mentioned your work with Supervisor Rubio, then of course also here with Dr. Baines, not current work as we should say,
Thank you.
but what has that taught you and given you for this particular race?
So initially I cut my political teeth with Dean Flores. He was an assemblyman at the time and then became a senator. And then I actually helped run Supervisor Rubio's campaign back in 2004. Spent a lot of time doing that. And when he won that seat, I went with him as a special assistant. So I was on the ground listening to constituents, in meetings, doing what needed to be done, meeting with department heads, I was just reminded recently on a radio show about the restaurant grading system that we had worked on. And I remember all the work that we had done. We received $7.4 million from the Infrastructure Bank as a loan, a state bank, to get curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. Pioneer School is a direct result of that work. I had to go up to Sacramento before that board, the Infrastructure Bank, to ask them to give us that loan with the roads director at the time and also engineering and survey services. So I fought for that district to get those funds. Unfortunately, Supervisor Rubio was stuck here at a meeting and he had asked me to go in his stead. So, being a staff member in that capacity and doing that kind of work, what more can I do as a sitting supervisor? And
one of the things that we see a lot of times when it's with a city council candidate or with a board of supervisors candidate, it's how do you work well as a team? Because a lot of your negotiations, a lot of votes, those are cast right in front of the public, right here with people going to those meetings, and of course people looking for one outcome over another, people who may not even live in your supervisorial district. Can you talk to us about how you are a team player, if that's the kind of category you fit yourself into, or someone who's a little different?
Sure. I was taught when I went to Cal State that politics is about compromise. You can see the political divide. You've got right and left, and people aren't willing to give and get into the middle. That's where I want to work. I want to work within the middle to see what we can do for the county as a whole. Because even though I would be supervisor representing one district, I understand I'm one of 5 as a whole, and how we can push, policy for the county and things that come up. So I'm a team player. I can work well with those others. I have Supervisor Couch's endorsement. I haven't asked for the others' endorsements, but I do know them, and hopefully we'll have a working relationship. I don't see, when I look at the supervisors' meetings and I see colleagues being attacked from the dais, that's not me. There's a sense of decorum. It is a public forum, from the dais, and I think that there needs to be a little sense of decorum and control.
Is that a remark in relation to what happened last Monday when Supervisor Perez, of course, took a lot of time out of the beginning of the meeting, which was supposed to be focused on carbon capture, to talk about her political situation?
Yeah, I've noticed that she sometimes takes over the meeting. I know that Tuesday morning, when that gentleman came up, was very upset. And the comment was that, if the chair isn't going to do it, I'm going to do it. So there's a policy and there's rules, that need to be followed. So that was one of the things that come to mind. And I'll say it again that, Wednesday, it was such a coincidence that allegations were being filed against me, but Tuesday at the same board meeting, my opponent's husband had approached a private citizen. To me, that's concerning that someone would be in the audience, perhaps to, for whatever reason, but intimidated a private citizen that had a right to speak his mind.
And last couple questions of this too. I want to ask you, because I know you're proud of the endorsement from Supervisor Couch. In the same respect, Supervisor Perez is saying that there's this group that's out to get her. It includes yourself, it includes Supervisor Couch, it includes the DA Cynthia Zimmer, and it also includes David Brust, who brought the allegations forward. What do you have to say that you're in some sort of conspiratorial group with that group, and then also the Kern County Prosecutors Association?
They are not part of my team. They have their own individual roles and jobs that they do. I'm proud to have Kern County Prosecutors Association's endorsement. I'm proud to have the sheriff's deputies, Bakersfield police officers, and city and county firefighters. These are our public safety servants, right? I was just at the First Responders Memorial, and the work that they do and having them behind me and they speak for their membership, I'm very proud of that. But for the record, none of them are part of my team. None of them are, whatever bridges she may burn in the past is not on my campaign nor my issue. That's something that my opponent has to deal with, and I think that she should. I find it interesting that when she's questioned on her allegations, she's very quiet and doesn't have much to say. However, when she's putting out all of these allegations and people part of my team, she's very articulate and ready to answer questions.
David Brust isn't part of your team?
No, David Brust is not part of my team. I know David Brust. I think a lot of people know David Brust, but he is not part of my team. No, he's a supporter, and I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support of a lot of people. I have the support of many individuals, and for my opponent to pick and choose a couple of them because of past, run-ins that she may have had with them, that's not my issue.
What do these next 8 days look like as we head closer to Election Day?
Well, so these next 8 days is what I've been doing since July. It's walking on doors, talking to voters. We have a data system that'll dump out people that have voted so that we're not wasting resources and knocking on doors for people who've already voted. But to the residents of the 5th District, like I said, if they're happy with the status quo, then by all means. But if they want change, then I'm that candidate. So 8 days is just knocking, talking to voters, getting my team together. I appreciate my family and friends that have come out to support that. In July, it was 100 and something degrees, so we're grateful that the weather's changed and it's about 72, so that's a nice break. But that's what it consists of, and we're going to be working till 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th, because we don't let up. We're going full force.
Weather change should have come earlier for all of us here, and it's not just you, but we appreciate it. Thank you for your time today. We look forward to continuing to talk as this race draws near.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.